Hello, this is week 2. And this week we continue our journey into beginning the meta analysis. So, this week you're going to learn about meta analysis and come up with some ideas for a topic for your paper. Okay. You're going to have 2 articles that you're going to read. I'm going to talk a little bit about each one of these. Okay. The first one here at the bottom is the Hansen article, How to Conduct a Meta-Analysis in 8 Steps, a Practical Guide. This is an overview of what meta-analysis is. And there are various kinds of meta-analysis, but basically what you're doing in a meta-analysis, you're looking at a lot of different research studies to see if you can find some commonalities, some trends. Think about it this way: researchers work in a silo, that each one of them is working on one little aspect of a problem. The person conducting the meta analysis comes along and looks at all the different researchers' research and sees if they can put it together and come to some kind of a conclusion, looking at the big picture. So you are going to be finding the big picture, not the small picture in the silo that the individual research gives you. So what you're going to look at, and they have a really broad overview here, is what Hansen gives you on meta-analysis. The research question, we're going to work on that a great deal when you are writing your own research questions. So it'll be more than one. They talk about the literature review, the importance of finding unbiased studies. One of the big things to look for when you pull a research article is to go straight to the very end and find out if it was funded by anybody. Because if it was funded by a corporation, you can be almost assured that the results are going to be skewed in a certain direction. That doesn't mean you have to throw that whole research project out, but it means that you need to be aware of it, and you need to note somewhere in the discussion that this, even though the findings said such and such, this particular study was funded by, and so you want to make the reader aware that this may or may not have had an impact on the results. Then lots and lots on the inclusion of data. Effect size, well, obviously, the smaller the study, the fewer the participants, the less relevant the study is, and the less conclusion you can draw from it. And then the analytical method used, that's how are you going to analyze it? And we're going to talk about this much more depth as we go through. Now, I don't expect you to do a huge quantitative analysis. We're going to do qualitative. So I'm going to scroll right down here to the qualitative meta-analysis, because that's what you're going to do. You're going to come up with several questions that you're trying to answer by conducting this qualitative meta-analysis. And then you're going to come up with a way that you're going to code each one of those studies that you have in your literature review to find whatever you're looking for. You've got to have some kind of method, and that's what they're talking about. And we will certainly go into great detail during our methodology part. But it's good for you to read through all this: choice of software, coding, so on and so forth. Very informative if you've never done a meta-analysis before. All this is a very, very fancy literature review, okay? So next, let me go through here. I have included the next article, which is the first one here, Inclusion and Deaf and Hard of Hearing Students, a Qualitative Meta-Analysis. This is exactly what you're going to do. And what the authors of this paper did, they wanted to know, what do all these different research studies about inclusion of deaf and hard of hearing students in the classroom have to say? What can we learn from all of these that a single one would not tell us? What's the big picture? So I want you to see something here. You notice this is the introduction, still the introduction. You come down here, and here is where they start talking at the very end of the introduction. In this article, we synthesize a selection of primary and secondary investigations to address the following 3 questions. These are their research questions. Everything they did when they looked through all the studies that they pulled from the internet was to address those 3 questions. So it's very interesting. Whenever you get a research study, always go to the end of the introduction, and it will tell you exactly what they're looking for. Okay, and then they talk about their methodology and so on and so forth. They chose to do a chart for their methodology, and they actually included it. I don't expect you to do that unless you are just very interested in charting. That's fine too. But that's what they did, and they had some very interesting findings. And obviously, for the findings, you can go down into the conclusion, and then they included the recommendations for future research. Limitations are important because no study is perfect. There are always limitations, and so on and so forth. It's all here. Okay, so I just wanted to point out those things here. So when you are done with your readings, please go to Analyzing Meta-Analysis and respond to the following prompts below. If you have any questions, please let me know. And you also need to click on this link and sign up for a Zoom meeting with me. Dates and times are here, including the Zoom links. And this is for us to discuss your topic, because I need to approve your topic before you do any research. I hate for you to waste your time. And sometimes students pick a topic that's so large, it would take you a year to get all the research on that one. Or it's so small, there are hardly any studies on it. So I don't want you to waste time and have to come up with something else. Let's make all your time useful and start out on a really good road. Okay, that's all for week 2. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to schedule another Zoom meeting with you. Okay, bye.